witches.
Hi, hello. Welcome to the season finale of
Well, of Ascension.
Yeah. I don't know why. I was like marking the book last night, like the new book, and I just kept sitting there. I was like, am I marking the right book? Because I feel like this whole book has essentially been wrapped around like obviously the Hero of Ages and the Well of Ascension. So anytime I saw or I was like flipping through, I was sitting here like, okay, Well of Ascension Part 1, and I'm like, why does that sound familiar? But it's just, I kept getting confused.
It's okay.
It was also a very long Monday and Tuesday. So.
Yeah, this week having staff back has been very interesting because, first of all, they were all having technical difficulties, and then there was just a lot of questions and a lot of neediness. And not like in a bad way, just it was a lot after being alone in the office for most of the summer.
You're like, yay. I have to be important again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, do you know whose birthday it is today?
My cousin Elijah.
No.
I mean, yeah, it is, but
That's not who I was talking about, but appreciate the information. Happy birthday, cousin Elijah. Fucking weird. Anyways, tomorrow, not today, I apologize. Tomorrow
it's
is
Harry Potter's birthday.
Harry Potter. So our local coffee shop is doing season Harry Potter specific drinks.
That's fun.
And I got the butter bear this morning, and I was like, this is so good.
Seasonal drinks always make me mad because like I either really, really like them and then they don't have them anymore, or they're just not good.
Luckily, these are items that you can that are on their like regular menu, but like they posted it specifically because that's kind of like where they come from.
Right.
So Butterbear is basically butter beer, and it's been on their menu forever. That was actually the first coffee I had from this place. So it's good. And then I saw it and I was like, yeah, I want one of them. But oh nope. I was like, but there's another birthday. And I was like, no, actually, I think that one's in June. I think that one's June 30th. So fuck. I fucked up. Sorry. I was gonna say it's Sailor Moon's birthday, but her birthday is I think June 30th. So yeah, it's June 30th. It's July. Never mind. Sorry.
Wow.
Damn. All right. Anyways.
Part 6.
Well of Ascension.
Words
6.
in Steel.
You read it, and you don't necessarily like, how you read it, or you read like what the part is named after, and then you're like reading through it, and then you don't get how
yeah,
the importance of written in steel is until the like last page, and I'm like,
yeah,
what?
and you're like, oh.
You're like, that's why. So
yeah,
keep that in mind as we talk about everything.
Yeah, so the beginning of chapter 56, we are with Elend. Because remember, Vin left him and Spook behind to rush back. And the mist is out, and it's like,
it's out.
yeah, just setting that scene for you. And then they hear something or see something in the mists, and I was like, do you think that that's the people that Sazed sent for them?
Re-ask that question. What?
Do you think, because Sazed like was like gonna send people to find Ellen, right? Like Vin was like, send people this way to find Ellen and Spook. So do we think that this sound in the mist is those people?
I don't know. I don't think so. Mainly because we've seen not that we've seen anything, but like I don't think so because there's so many travelers somewhere somehow that it could be like a refugee band of people, it could be bandits, it could be I don't want to say like herders or mercenary, but it could be like people like going like traveling through.
Mm-hmm.
But it I kind of thought maybe it was like the I first thought it was like a mist wraith because um they do lurk out there,
Mm-hmm.
and like maybe they're just not being as secretive as they could be. So I thought maybe that was a creature of that sort. And then I was thinking, what if it's actually something like the mist spirit? What if it's creating noises to
Like draw them?
yeah.
Well, both of those can be true, kind of.
Yeah.
It is, or well, it's not, but the mist spirit does show up,
Mm-hmm.
and is trying to like, it's trying to tell Ellen something. Um, but then Spook shows back up and kind of scares it away. And we learn that the sounds and the campfires that they saw were refugees.
Not from Lutha, no.
Yeah. Correct.
These are refugees from um whatever however the fuck you pronounce that one name. Up in the north in the Terrace Mountains.
Yeah.
Um
Tathing Dwen? Tathing
yeah,
Dwen?
Tothing when the way it's spelled makes me think it's like Gaelic of some sort, and I know, or even like Welsh. And let me tell you, there is going to be a sound that is not in that word. And then
Yep.
there is going to be a letter that is in the word that does not make a single fucking appearance.
Yep. And why? So the town was attacked by Steel Inquisitors with an army of Colossus.
And with this, a couple of things. I honestly was thinking, what if the Steel Inquisitors, because of Marsh is very coherent in what he can and cannot do and what he says and thinks. So I thought maybe because like the Lord Ruler is gone, they became less drone-like and more like cognizant of themselves. And I was like, maybe they're trying to bring back the Lord Ruler.
Yeah. Well, and I was like, they think that the well is there.
See, and that's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, so they must think that the well is in the north, and they're gonna go there in an attempt to either revive their master to figure shit out, or prevent what's her face from getting it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, or they're I not like whatever. I thought maybe like we don't know if maybe what's his face is actually dead because he had a Steel Inquisitor like through him.
Oh, Zane.
Um yeah, so I was like, well, maybe it's Zane. Like maybe he's actually not dead and he's
I don't think he's dead.
I don't think so either. And I was like, well, maybe he's leading the Steel Inquisitors up there in an attempt to like thwart Vin or I don't know, some type of revenge plot. And then I was like, dang, okay, what's another thing I could be thinking here? I thought maybe Marsh was taking them. Like Marsh
Could
was like
be.
a rat. Or like the god thing or whatever that was
Yeah.
made Zane insane.
Like the deepness or whatever.
Yeah. Like taking them there in an attempt
Or
to
I guess
like
I'm just
protect it.
assuming that the deepness is that voice. We don't ever actually really
Yeah.
learn that.
The voice they reference as God. I don't know.
Yeah.
But what if the mist spirits are like um legitimate spirits of like people past trying to get into the well?
So my theory after having finished the book, I kind of almost feel like the mist spirit is either Rashik or whatever we find out is in the well.
I honestly thought it was like a Lendy for a bit.
Yeah.
I thought it was something along the lines of because I mean the entire story we're basically kind of back and forth with how Alendi is as a person compared to how Quan is defining him and then what Rashik has
Yeah.
said. So it's like, okay, was he like a really good person and then he did some terrible fucking things that deserves death? There was like there's like no explanation as to why he did these things. He just did them to do it, kind of like Straff in a way. So I
Yeah.
was thinking like what if not that this is like a long planned like revenge thing, but what if there was like a great battle that no one knows about between Rashik and Alendi, and Rashik obviously had to take the well's power for himself, and maybe he was corrupted with that with the power, and then ended up killing Alendi in it, and like Alendi was like, well, damn, I wanted that power.
Yeah.
So like now that Lord Ruler is gone, now Alendi, quote unquote, as the spirit would be
Free.
yeah, to like take the power for himself. I don't know. I was running rampant with things that could be happening.
Well, because I feel like the spirit. We'll get to that part later. I'm
Yeah.
jumping ahead. That's really all I had for chapter 56, because then basically, um, Spook and Ellen are talking, and they're still heading back towards Luthadel, and Spook is kind of like lost hope, and he's like, we're not even going to find anything there. They're all going to be dead. And Ellen's like, nope, Vin got there in time. Like, it's
We're
kind
gonna
of
think
a,
that.
yeah. And that's all I had was just that. We'll be
Yep.
all right.
That's all I had too. I was like, okay, here we go. Let's go back
Yeah.
to Luthadel.
And then chapter 57. We're back in Luthadel and we're arguing. We're listening to Set, Penrod, Sazed, all of them. Who else is there? Set.
Listen, I just want to punch all three of them
Yeah.
for
Wait, who is the
different
third one?
reasons. To be quite frank, different reasons, but they're all similar. But it's like you have Set worried about his own dominance moments after Luthadel's battle. And I get it, it's been a week, but like that is seconds in
Oh,
warfare, okay?
Gennaro too. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you have somebody who's literally a king by default because of Straff's army, and
Yeah.
he's only a king by default because Vin was like, "You're gonna stand in my way. All right, you're gonna cut down." And now he's like, "Praise Vin, Empress, got it." Excuse me.
Yeah.
And then Penrod is just, two-faced.
Yes. And a bitch. Like, you're just
Oh my
gonna keep
god.
your gates closed and let everybody die? Fuck you, man.
Yeah, and he's just like, "Oh, well, we done this or we done that." Okay, no, I've lost all respect for you. I get it.
Yeah.
Ellen had respect for you back when, and he was okay with you taking the kingly role. I don't care. You are fucked up.
Yeah, fuck that shit. um so like the first 3 pages of the chapter is just them arguing back and forth. Um
And poor Sazed's like the middleman in all of it.
yeah, the first thing I wrote though was towards the end of that discussion or argument or whatever you want to call it. Sazed is like thinking in his head and he's like, when is she gonna wake up? Because, after she pewter drags, they sleep for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Um and he's like, she's gonna sleep for a while, but for how long? Pewter dragging could kill if the person had pushed themselves too hard. What would happen to the city if she never woke up? And I was like, well, Sazed, there's another book. So she has to wake up. She has to wake up, right? And, you know, then then we switch back to Ellen for just like a tiny bit because they have made it back to the city and are like,
Yeah, because they noticed that the gate was broke, and then they see that the Koloss are just camped outside the city, and that Straff's army was still there, right where it had been when they had left. And then Spook had stated that like there were work crews, looks like they're burying corpses, and like Ellen's obviously worried because Ben could be among them. Obviously, he doesn't believe that, but like
right.
he's worried like what happened to her, what has like where is she? And uh then he had asked like whose flag flies over the gates, and Spook says it's yours. And it's like, this could either be an elaborate plan to capture me,
Right.
or she somehow managed to save the city.
Yeah.
And he's like, let's go find out.
Yeah.
He just
He's like, all
walks
right,
straight
here we
in.
go. Yeah. And then we switch back to Sazed. And Sazed right now is highly depressed.
Oh yeah.
Like, he is struggling to believe in anything,
including his position in telling Vin who she is and isn't.
Yeah. Because she finally wakes up and they're talking, and he's like, I don't know what I believe. And I'm just like, oh, it's sad. But this part is like, it reminds me of Fourth Wing. Like, the Lord Ruler just straight up changed history.
Yeah.
Like, he flattened out the mountains around the Well of Ascension.
And Vin figured this out.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to think that throughout all the century, very little has essentially changed from the main story. Like, it's followed along with this has happened, it led here, it led here, it led here, and it led here. However, it's so smart of everybody to believe, or well, it's not smart of everybody, it's smart of the Lord Ruler or Rashik to sit there and think, I'm gonna basically run along with that idea that the well is still in the mountains, with the rest of the terrace people. And whether or not it's actually like a legitimate well that you could like uplift and move, like Lucido could have very well have been a mountainous region, and that he literally just flattened and was like, all right, this little cave system here, that's where the well's gonna sit.
Just build a city around it so he could protect it.
Yeah, and then a building within a building. Like it's very, very
Yeah.
elaborate, which makes me wonder, like, how important was this well? And like, why was it? What is so special about it? Or the opposite of special, what is so terrifying about it that it has to be hidden deep, deep down behind multiple layers of sediment and two buildings and like cave system after cave system?
Yeah. Yikes.
So it's definitely like
And then okay. Then I'm like 90% sure I was reading too much into this bullshit. But there's a part where she's talking. So, then they say the king has returned, and Vin just jumps out the fucking window. Mid conversation, jumps out the window. And then she's talking to Ellen. And she's like, she looks tired, and Ellen says, Vin, are you still pewter dragging? And she says, no, this is something else. And she kind of like looks to the side like she's thinking about something. And I was like, is she pregnant?
She's pregnant.
I love that you went there too. I was like, holy shit, could she be pregnant? Or am I reading too much into this?
I think we're reading too much into it. And I think we're so used to like, I think we're also at that like stage in our life and our age where like your friends are like, dang, I'm really tired. And then like all of a sudden they're pregnant.
Yeah.
So
I know every time that you're like messaging me and something's going on, I'm like, are you pregnant?
Are you pregnant? And I'd be like, I'd like, no, don't remind me. But but yes, I was like, is she pregnant? Because I know like in chapters past, they straight up was like, or she made a comment, she goes, yeah, I gave myself over to him, mind, body, and soul. And like that was obviously because like they were married,
right,
too. So I had, if you're not reading into it, you're not gonna immediately think, oh damn, they had sex and now she's pregnant.
Yeah.
She's immediately just like, no, I married him, I like trust him, and that's why I gave him mind, body, and soul.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But then she's like, come on. And then we jump to Sazed. And Sazed is on the verge of figuring something out. He is reading and looking at some of his research again that he had been doing with Tyndall, and he had rewritten a page of the notes with the part that had been like ripped out. He had rewritten it, and that part is again ripped out. And he's like, what is happening? Like, why is Quan worried about this? He says he knew Alindy better than anyone else. In fact, he called Alindy an honorable man on several occasions. Why would he be so worried about Alindy taking the power for himself? And I think that Sazed is on the verge of figuring things out.
This is like the moment in a movie that it's like good things are happening for everybody involved, and we see that like the heroine and whoever are like having a grand old day finally, and then like in the back, like miles away, there's like someone reading into something a little too much, but then realizes some
like, oh fuck, we got this wrong. Plot twist.
Yeah. And then like has to run out mid whatever in an attempt to save the heroine from doing something terrible that could end their life.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can see this in my brain. I see it happening.
Yeah. And so then we jump back to Vin and Ellen, and they are going to.
You're going on
They're
a
going
walk.
on a walk, but they're going to the Lord Ruler's castle.
Credit Shaw.
Yes.
Honestly, if I were Ellen after walking fucking days to get back and like not having a horse, I'm telling you what, you bet your bottom dollar I'd be like, bitch, we going to bed first.
I need some rest first.
Then we can do this. You pewter drag for a good part of the year. Not only that, like you put yourself through hell and back while having nothing in your stores or body. Go to bed. I'm coming right behind you.
And she takes him to that place. There's like a building within the building, if you remember from the first book. And she's like burning I can't remember which metal, but she's burning the metal that shows her other
Zinc?
metals.
Is it zinc?
Yes, maybe. And she realizes that there is a false wall in this little building.
Yeah, because this one particularly thick line goes straight through wood, basically.
Yeah. And so she tears the wall down. And then we jump back to Sazed. And Sazed realizes that. Wait, hold on. Or Sazed is on the verge of realizing what he needs to know, and then all of a sudden, there is a bunch of screaming outside.
And people are dropping dead. Wait.
We don't know that yet.
Okay, spoiler alert.
There's just a lot of screaming. And then we jump back to Vin. And they are going down the stairs that were behind the hidden door. This is like one of those movie scenes where you flash back and forth and you see the hero about to do something like that we now know is not a good idea. And then you see the person coming to try to stop them from doing the thing.
And then you're just like, yes.
Yeah.
as they're like going straight for it.
Yeah. And then we jump back to Sazed. And I know you can see me dancing, so I'm going to be right back. You just talk about what Sazed's doing.
Okay. Anyway, so Sazed's running through the street, and he is essentially, he followed the Mist Spirit, actually, which is, like, crazy, because he sat there and said, I don't believe in anything, because he's depressed. Tyndall died. Now he's like, doesn't know if there's anything that he can actually live for. But he ran through the streets following the Mist Spirit, and he doesn't have light. His candle's gone. And then people were just screaming, and there were like panic sounds from everywhere. And he he wants to go check on like what's happening, but like the Mist Spirit is essentially just like demanding him to keep going. He just like felt a sense of allomancy on his emotions because of the Mist Spirit like essentially using that, which makes me think that either Rashik was able to do allomancy all along, or the spirit is like a Lendi or somebody that is able to do allomancy, and maybe it even gives like allomantic powers, and that's how and why certain people are like more prone to having higher, like better powers or whatever. But anyways, they go what is it? He goes up to something or a person who is dead, and he looks at the Miss Spirit and he goes, "Did you do this?" And the Miss Spirit's actually shaking his head violently, no. So that's why I think it's like,
Yeah.
bitch, that's why I think like, oh my god, what if that's actually like Rashik? What if that's his
Could
ghost?
be. The Miss Spirit is definitely good, though. We can agree on that.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. I think it doesn't.
It's trying to stop something bad from happening.
Yeah, and knows that if it doesn't continuously push Sazed, it might not happen. It might not like reach that final whatever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And
then he makes it to Krennic Shaw, and he's like, "Oh my god, the well is here." He goes inside. He finds out where everybody is, and then he sees Marsh.
Yeah, he does.
To long last, Marsh is present.
Yeah, and he wishes he understood, but he doesn't understand, but he wishes he understood why he has to kill Sazed. And then starts pushes on Sazed's bracelets, basically. Or his, like, he has bracers on his arms, like armor.
His pewter mines or whatever.
And it slams him into the wall, and then that's the end of chapter 57.
Yeah.
And I just said, what the fuck?
Like, what the fuck? I was like, what? What is happening?
Yeah. And then chapter 58.
And honestly, this whole chapter just doesn't sound good.
No.
It was like bad news after bad news after bad news, and you're just like, what the fuck? And it's so crazy that like Marsh is like doing this because, and he's sitting there, he goes, I don't know why why I'm doing this, I don't know why I have to do this, but I'm doing it, is basically what he's saying. And it's absolutely insane too, because he was the one who originally took Sazed to like where they go, where they usually sit and stay. Which makes me wonder if that's actually where like Alendi and everybody started off.
Maybe.
And they made their way north, Luthville, because that is north, like northeast or so.
Yeah. I think that Marsh is hearing the same God voice that Zane does.
Because of the metal.
Yeah, because of the Inquisitor spike. And I think that that's who's telling him he has to kill Sazed.
And he doesn't necessarily have... He was made to essentially be like a strong pawn. Yeah. That's what he was made to do. So there's probably something within him that is broke to the point like where he can't reason with what is being said through that spike. And if it is like the deepness, that's terrifying, because like this never was a problem for 1,000 years.
Yeah.
And now Rashik's gone, and now these guys are like, yep, I do whatever God tells me to. And it's like,
what? Who? The fuck?
Excuse me. But yeah, so again, it's like that back and forth between two different parties, and we open up chapter 58 with Vin and Elend. They're obviously walking through various, I don't want to say cave systems, because that's not what it is, but like, she says that as you go further along, the pathways become more narrow and like smaller, basically. So they're excuse me. They go through this like very slim tunnel, and it actually has like thick dark smoke in it, and it's just like billowing and churning within itself, but it didn't choke them. It's not like fire smoke. So it's like, what the fuck is that? And I wonder if that's the deepness. It's not necessarily the mist. I wonder if the mist is like purified to a stance that it can't actually do anything, but like the dark deepness, like the deep, dark, like thick ass smoke, that's actually the deepness. And it's just not full power yet
Maybe.
because it is unable to take its true form.
Could be. We don't really know.
And we don't find
Yeah.
out. But they start, like, as they're going through the smoke, Vin and Ellen actually see a light up ahead, and Vin feels the, like, thumping beats again as she's closing in on it.
Yep. And then we jump right back to Sazed and Marsh.
Yep.
And they are just fighting, and Sazed is obviously not winning. He didn't have a lot in his like, he didn't have a lot stored up in his metal mines, so he
It's a very quick fight.
Yeah, it's a very quick fight, and
sort of thing.
He, at the very end of this little blurb, is Marsh shoots a pouch off of Sazed into Sazed. That sounds stupid, but basically, what Sazed thought were
there's metal in the
what Sazed thought were coins that got like shot into his body, were actually his rings, so he can access their power.
Yeah, they're lodged into his skin though, so as he heals himself, it's like getting inside of him and kind of like the Lord Ruler so that it cannot be removed, which is actually
interesting.
It's interesting, but it's like it's smart in a world that like everything is made of wood so that you don't actually like get it stolen from you.
Yeah.
This is pretty smart because that's what Tensoon said.
Yeah.
He had said that if you hide it in your body, you can't find it, you can't see it. So that's how he was able to do all his bullshit.
Yeah. And then we jump back to Vin and Ellen. We're just back and forth. Like it's like a couple of paragraphs, and then we're back to the other characters. But basically, they get to the end of this tunnel, and there is a glowing white pool.
Secret tunnel.
In like the ground, I guess. And she says, "This is the well of Ascension. I can feel it in my head." But they're like looking around, trying to figure out what's going on. There's like pottery shards in there that they're looking at,
and she did find like a weird little bead too.
Yes.
It
in the middle of a piece of circular clay.
Yeah, so like a pot had broke, and underneath that rubble was a tiny little ball of metal. And obviously most people believe that they're going to find ATM down here in this cavern, maybe. So Ellen looks at her and goes, "Oh, ATM?" And she's like, "No, it's the wrong color." And it's like, looks like ATM, but it's the wrong color. Then what the fuck is it?
What is it then? We don't know. Not right now, because we jump back to Sazed and Marsh.
Yep. And they're still fighting, of course. He's losing all of his strength because all of his metal mines are essentially tapped out.
Yeah.
He did end up like hitting him like with a lamp, and it had pushed him back to the point that one of the ice spikes were driven back into the front of the skull. Please draw that out for me.
Don't wanna. I didn't think about it that hard.
Okay. You're just like, all right, this was dislodged somewhere somehow. I just, because when you look at the picture, it's the spikes out is in the back of the head, like the tiny little point is in the back of the head, and then it's like flat right here. But then,
he hit the wall, driven one of the eye spikes back into the front of the skull.
The only thing I could think of is just that it was like pushed out of the front of the skull a little bit. But like the way it's worded, it was like pushed into a different location.
Yeah,
but it's out on both sides. So like, how is it going to like go into one place and come out the next?
I don't know. That is weird. That is weird.
Yeah, but it's getting pretty rough fighting there, and all of a sudden Sazed is essentially losing consciousness, and he sees a light coming from someplace and a dueling cane smashed into the back of Marsh's head, shattering into splinters. Mm-hmm. So the fight's over with.
I wrote Breeze! Exclamation point, because he's the one that carries a dueling cane.
I low-key thought it was Breeze too. I was like, man, this is the redemption that he gets. Aurian found him, all is well. He's still upset, but he's only upset enough to where he can fuck shit up.
Yeah.
Like, he's in the anger stage, like, where I'm gonna go fuck people up without truly thinking about anything. And I can just feel that would be his breaking point, and he would go into Credit Shaw and just tear the fucking place up regardless of what or who's in there.
Yeah. We were wrong, but at that point, I thought that it was Breeze.
Yeah, I was so excited. I was like, yeah, Breeze got his mojo back.
No.
We were wrong.
They go back again to Vin and Elend, and excuse me, the mist spirit is there. And Vin is like, get away from Elend, because earlier she thought it was trying to kill Elend in the tent. And he's like, no, it's not bad. It didn't hurt me then. It just wanted me to know something. And he walks up to it, and it fucking slashes across his gut.
Fatally slashes across the gut. Like, there is no surviving that.
It says the wound was very bad, deadly. And then we jump back to Sazed.
So that just means that there are two different types of spirits. And even Brandy and her shitty ass technology didn't see it. Just kidding. She keeps getting kicked off. However, there's two different spirits involved. There was obviously the one that was standing over Elend. We don't know if it was in a malicious way or if it was in, I don't want to say friendly, but like didn't have any harm planned to him. And then there was the spirit out on the road with Elend, to where he's just like, you need me to go here, you need me to go there. So there's multiple, there could be two, but like there's at least multiple mist spirits. And what if it's just plain ghosts that are that are able to actually utilize the mist to like create a shape?
Maybe, but I think that these are all the same one.
You think they're all the same one?
I do.
Oh, he did have to lure him down there.
Mm-hmm.
And if he went up north,
yeah,
then why would he be in Lucido?
For this, based on what they think, is that she needs to go there, draw the power, and release it. But based on that, the Mist Spirit's like, nope, I need to get her to hold this power and use it. And that is why he's attacking Elend, to get her to keep the power for herself.
And I was like, damn, that's fucking diabolical, bro.
Yeah.
But like, That's a very good way to keep it going.
Yeah.
So that.
But then we go back to Sazed and Ham. It's Ham, not Breeze, with the dueling cane. And Sazed like starts going down the stairs. Like he's still trying to get to Vin as fast as he can.
Yeah. Then we're back to Vin and Elend, and Vin is cradling Elend in her arms, and obviously, like, it's bad. He's dying.
She's crying.
And she's upset. She's whispering, like, I love you over and over again. But obviously that's not enough. It still is a fatal wound, so he is dying. And she's kind of being a little irrational with a lot of things, like, oh, I can save him. I can do it.
Yeah.
I can do this. You might be a very, very powerful Allomancer, but in like Mistborn, but that doesn't mean that you're able to do that.
Yeah.
And I also just thought of it. Mistborn. Born of the Mists. I'll finish that here in a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, well, and then I think she was also thinking, like, the Well of Ascension's right there. I could just grab that power and save him. And that is what the spirit wants her to do.
Yeah.
And to hold the power for herself.
She essentially grabs it. She takes the power.
And then we jump back to Sazed.
Yeah.
And Sazed realizes that he is too late because there is a small tremor that runs through the rock. And that tremor is from Vin getting all of the power.
Yeah. And then it goes back to
Vin,
and she is actually so she's submerged in the well. She is essentially starting to I don't want to say burn because she's not like on fire, but everything's burning her. The metal in her ear is burning her, so she's like stripping out. It's basically it's the same feeling you get when you burn metals in your body. But this was like from the entire body. It wasn't just her stomach. So like her skin flared and it flamed and like it just seemed everything, including her bones, seemed to be on fire. And then she just like felt the power.
Yep. And
she's like, oh, I can feel everything.
Yeah, and she's like looking at Elend and she's like, I know exactly how to save him. I know exactly what to do. But then there's a voice. And this voice starts talking to her and it's like, you have to give up the power and set me free so I can defeat the deepness. If you take the power, you're going to ruin the world like Rashik did. And the voice even uses, it's manipulative, and it says, or it makes her think about Sazed when he's like, you must love him enough to trust his wishes. It isn't love unless you learn to respect his choices, to support not only what you believe is best for him, but what he truly wants. And she's like, oh, Elend wants his people to live. He wants the deepness to be defeated. And so she says, I love you. And then she lets the power go. So she does not save Elend. And then the voice screams, basically, I am free. And I was like, well, that's ominous.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Great.
And then we the blurb of chapter 59.
Oh my god, yes. I was like, that motherfucker
is a missing sentence, and it is, for he must not be allowed to release the thing that is imprisoned there. So
I wonder what's imprisoned there.
Yeah,
probably the fucking deepness.
Probably.
So what Vin just thought she saved to defeat the deepness was the complete fucking opposite. She basically released it.
Yeah.
Or so it's implying.
Yeah. So she taking in the power and releasing it was actually the worst for the world. So the Lord Ruler technically was trying to do a good thing by holding the power in and not releasing it. Now he could have just left it the fuck alone and not done anything with it, but that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, and it's weird because it's like, okay, he did what he felt was best in that time, and it's like he could have done better. But like, can I be mad at him for it?
Yeah.
Ugh.
It makes it a more complicated character and a more like you have to. I feel more complicated about the Lord Ruler than I did.
Like
He's
you
still
can't
shit
hate him
because
yeah,
the
like
slavery and
he's not like Hitler. It's like Hitler did the shit he did because he was being fucking petty as fuck. The Lord Ruler literally was just trying to do what should have happened.
yeah, like what he thought was for the best.
Yeah.
He still like the slavery and the shittiness was not great. Obviously he was not a good ruler, but
What if
his intentions in the beginning at least seemed to be good. We could be totally wrong though.
Okay, but on the other hand though, what if he knew the person that would release the deepness or the person that would lead up to this, because he did burn a metal that could see
The future,
like gold or whatever it was.
Yeah,
could see the future, what it could be and what it might not be. So what if he saw that, or like in somewhere, shape, or form, he saw a ska person do that?
Oh,
So
that's
he
why he was
chose
enslaving them.
to keep an eye on them to make sure that the fate of the world would not fall into the one ska that could undo it.
Still shitty. Could have maybe done it in a better way.
That's probably why there was a lot of breeding programs too, because what if he knew it was a female?
Oh, yeah.
And maybe that's why the obligators weren't able to like canoodle with each other like ska women, because he was like, nope, this bitch is gonna come from a ska and obligator, this bitch is gonna do this bitch is gonna do that. No, we ain't doing that.
I mean, could be. Still, it's like
the plot thickens if that's true.
Yeah, but it's still like one of those things like, okay, I understand the motivation. I understand, kind of like Snape. Like, I understand the motivation. I understand why you did what you did. You're still a shitty person, though. Like, that does not redeem you.
On the other hand,
no, there is no redeeming slavery.
I'm not. No. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm using this as like an idea of like, okay, you know that once upon a time there were things that were the norm, and that's like the belief of it. Like, there wasn't anything really shaping this idea, it was just how it was. Like, it also kind of proves to you the difference between like generational thinking and how things can like change.
Yeah.
Still not condoning slavery, but I'm just saying.
I don't know.
I'm trying to find a fault here, okay, that he just didn't heal from.
No.
Okay. Anyways.
But then, okay, the spirit, the mist spirit, because so the whatever, she released the power, and the spirit, the mist spirit, is like pointing, and she's like, "It's over," and the spirit's like pointing like forcefully, and she's like, "No, like I won't get to them. I won't get him to the healers in time. Like I saw it. There's nothing anyone could do. You got what you wanted." And she's like, "Well, I had the spirit." Then it clicks for her. She's like, "Oh, you were trying to stop me from releasing the power." And then the spirit keeps pointing like forcefully, like trying to get her to do something. And she finally realizes that it's the little nugget of metal that we were discussing earlier. And she was like, what is it? And then the Mist Spirit goes back over to Ellen. And so she walks over and she's about to swallow the piece of metal. And the spirit's like, no, 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 no. Like it shakes its hands at her to in a no gesture. And it points to Ellen. So she is like, okay, what the fuck ever. And she's like, Ellen, you need to swallow this. And he does. And then
he burned bronze to see if there were some type of pulses coming from him.
Yeah. Because color starts to return to his cheeks and he's like healing basically.
And he's burning pewter.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering about this because he said, she's like, I need to find something for him to wash this down. And she gives him her vial.
Yeah.
What if this is where I'm coming back to. What if Mistborns are essentially born of the mist? Like, what if they're hurt or whatever, and they take this tiny little bead that maybe is formed with mist movement or whatever, and then all of a sudden they can be this Mistborn thing. But on the other hand, what if that little bead is like, obviously a mix of metal, it's something that can help heal whatever, but her giving him the vial with all of her metals, what if that just gave him the power to be a Mistborn? Like, how?
I feel like the original metal that the spirit told her to give him turned him into a Mistborn.
See, I was wondering that too, and I was like, okay, so that's either making him Mistborn or that's like that mixed with other metals as it's being burned,
right?
As something.
Yeah, I don't know. The only thing I wrote for this chapter was, what the hell?
Yeah, I was like, excuse me.
And then it's the epilogue. So like we're about done here. And yeah. Sazed, we're with Sazed. And
Sazed's at the conventicle of Saran or Saren.
Yeah. Wait. Yeah.
It literally says 2 weeks later, a solitary figure. He literally said it.
I'm just trying to figure out what I was talking about, but I'm on the next page, so it's fine.
My comment about Ellen being a Mistborn, that was my comment for the epilogue.
Oh, okay.
I said early.
There was a part
I was like, ugh.
In this that, so he's reading the tablet, I think. And there's a part in here where it's talking about how the prophecies have changed. So originally the prophecies said that something different, and now it says that he needs to release the power from the thing. And so he's like, this is something in our religion is pushing Alendi to the Well of Ascension to release something there. And the new version of the text outline a terrible consequence if the hero of ages takes the power for himself. So this made me think of, I believe it was in Harry Potter, where there's a quote about like how easy it is to manipulate honorable men or like good people. It might not be Harry Potter, I might be making that up, but like it's easy to manipulate a good person because they're always going to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what's happening with Alendi. So they're saying that if he takes the power for himself, something terrible is going to happen. So he's going to release the power. That obviously never happens because of Rashik, but basically we're given the impression, it never is actually explicitly said, but we're given the impression that what is in the Well of Ascension is actually the deepness.
Yeah, it's just some, I guess, speculated.
Yeah.
Based on the journal, the Lord Ruler, all of that.
Yeah. And then there is a couple, like a conversation between Vin and Ellen on the last page. And Ellen's like, you did the best you could because based on
with what you knew.
based on what you knew, you did the right thing. And she's like, I'm worse than the Lord Ruler. In the end, maybe he realized he was being tricked and knew he had to take the power rather than release it. And then Ellen says, if he'd been a good man, Vin, he wouldn't have done what he did to this land. And that is it. Like, yes, he may have had honorable intentions in the beginning by taking the power instead of allowing Elendil to release it. But then what he proceeded to do with that power was not good. But basically, we also learn that he does have Allomancy now, and
he was a Mistborn.
He is a Mistborn now. And I'm like, okay, so what the fuck was that medal? Like,
I know, I was like, what?
What the fuck?
and it doesn't say either.
No,
in like,
we don't know.
It doesn't say it at all in the very end of it, where it's Palladium, gold, unknown, which could possibly see into your own future, Adium, bronze, copper, brass, zinc, pewter, tin, steel, iron, all of that.
Yeah.
Gold, like, none of them mention anything of this unknown metal.
No, we do not know.
So it makes me wonder if, like, did it actually give him that power?
I don't know.
Or was it like a gateway drug? And then the vial really solidified it all.
Right, like, or it was all the metals together or something. I don't know.
Yeah, like, you know how in how Feyre turned Fae because she got a little drop of everybody. Yeah.
I don't know.
See, it's not so crazy now that you think
it's not. It's not too crazy. I don't know.
Anyways, so that is the end of Well of Ascension, and the next book is The Hero of Ages.
We're gonna dive right into.
Yeah, and that new episode will be up
next week.
The next Wednesday we have.
Yeah.
So, until next time.
Bye!